New York is the city that never sleeps, and neither does Sal Licata. From Flushing in the Bronx to the Meadowlands in MSG, Sal sounds off on the biggest sports news of the day. Welcome to WFAN Daily with Sal Licata.
All right, well, the Knicks just wrap up Game 1 in a victory at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, of course. Nice to see the Knicks get another win in the opening game of the postseason series here. Problem is, I got to be honest with you. Coming away after that game, watching that game, it was more infuriating than anything else. The Knicks played like shit the entire game. Brunson, it took a heroic fourth quarter from him. I mean, look, that's what superstars do. And, as long as they have Brunson, they're going to be fine, especially in a series like this. But Indiana it goes to show you why people feel like this is going to be an easier series for the Knicks. Indiana, the bench points and the way that they played hard in the beginning and the rebounding and all that Indiana brought to the table early on, it seems like they did everything they possibly could, and yet they still lost this game in where the Knicks didn't play anywhere near where they need to play. Now, the Knicks got terrific efforts from Josh Hart. We mentioned Jalen Brunson, who wasn't having a vintage game early on. And I'm looking at usually I wouldn't do this, but with this Knicks team, I think it does matter. Where I'm looking at Brunson, all right, he's at 27 points. He's going to need to get to 40 for this team to win. And sure enough, he goes nuts in the fourth quarter, and that's what happens. Anybody who thinks that, I hate to throw cold water on the Knicks situation here because it's a great win and you take it, you move on. They will be better. They will take care of the Pacers. I'd be stunned if they lost this series. I'd be stunned if they actually lost the series in anything fewer than 5 games. But anybody who thinks, A, the Knicks don't miss Julius Randle, or B, the Knicks could beat the Boston Celtics, you're just not paying attention to. The Knicks will get swept by the Boston Celtics. That's the reality. They're just not any good. The Knicks are not even close to the level of the Boston Celtics. It's infuriating to watch this team. Yeah, they play hard. Tonight, they didn't play enough defense whatsoever. And by the way, while Anunoby, I thought, had a terrific game from start to finish, I didn't like him defensively on Siakam. Now, I mean, what are you going to do? It's a tough matchup. Whatever, you want to have him try to shut him down. I didn't love that. But I thought Anunoby played well. And Josh Hart, he plays the entire game. He plays hard. If he could ever hit free throws. I mean, you wonder why the guy's so good at rebounding the basketball. Probably because as a kid, he was always grabbing his own free throw misses. He can't hit free throws. I don't understand it. Should be the easiest part of the game. He does everything else extremely well. Hit some free throws. My goodness. But Hart played, obviously played a terrific game. DiVincenzo hitting big shots. This is what the Knicks do. It's been up and down, up and down. One night it's going to be DiVincenzo. One night it's going to be McBride, who hasn't played well since the early going of that Philadelphia 76ers series. But this is what the Knicks do. I mean, they're a good team. They play hard. They fight. They have multiple ways to beat you. Anunoby, Brunson, DiVincenzo, whoever, Josh Hart. But they're just, you watch them when they're going bad, they look awful. And the fact that the Pacers didn't have a bigger lead, whether it be at halftime, whether it be third quarter, late fourth quarter, and I don't even think that this is, to me, the Knicks got lucky in games 1 and games 2 against Philadelphia in the first round. I don't think they got lucky tonight in game 1. I just think the Pacers aren't that good. So the Knicks could get away with a little bit more. They need Brunson to get going earlier on. Now, look, you take him closing out fourth quarter the way that he did every single time, the way that he did it in game 1. So you take that. But Brunson missing some shots early on and not being his efficient self allowed the Pacers to get a lead and, play from in front a lot of the game. I can't get caught up in the bench points versus the Knicks because the Knicks are going to play the majority of the starters. I'll tell you one thing, that's not their strength. Their strength is not getting bench points. Their strength is going to be their starters. I'll tell you one thing, I mentioned the defense from Anunoby on Siakam. One way to solve that could potentially be to give Achua more minutes. I'm not one of these, Boomer and BT have been big on this. Oh, Achua's got to play. Achua's got to play for the Knicks to win. I don't believe that, although I do think in this series, he might be a better matchup on Siakam than Anunoby and have Anunoby play on Halliburton or something like that. But the Pacers just they're not there yet. They're well coached. They have some playmakers. If you lose a series, I mean, really even a game, I was about to flip out. If you lose a series to a team with that scrub TJ McConnell on it. I mean, you better pack it in. TJ McConnell chewing up the Knicks? Give me a break. Somebody put a body on the guy. I mean, my God. That was rough to watch in the early goings there. And people call me, leave me alone here. It was rough to watch in the early goings, very frustrating, but I never felt like the Knicks were going to lose that game ever throughout the entire game. Matter of fact, kept looking up the score saying, oh, they're only down 5. Oh, they're only down 3. Oh, wow, the Knicks are up here. They're lucky they're not down. So never did I feel like the Knicks were in real danger. And sure enough, they ended up winning the game. But it was way too close for comfort, where it should not be with a team like Indiana, who's just, they're not that good. I think game 2 will be a game where the Knicks win by double digits. They'll get it going early on. They'll be more consistent. They'll play harder, both defensively and on the boards. They didn't wake up until the second half. And then even then, they didn't really wake up until the fourth quarter. And the Knicks had a lot of key plays go their way, but it was smart. Whether it was DiVincenzo drawing that foul there on the illegal pick or block, whatever. And then you have Jalen Brunson also drawing a foul, getting the free throw that changed the game right there. Knicks up 1, Jalen Brunson drawing the foul before the ball was inbounded, getting to the free throw line, hitting the tag, making it a 2-point game. Then the Knicks also getting the possession and taking advantage of that. So Knicks played smart basketball down the stretch as well. But it was, to me, all about Brunson being clutch, Josh Hart throughout the course of the game, Anunoby having a consistent game, and DiVincenzo hitting a lot of big shots. And that's what he does. He's going to miss a bunch of shots. And when he's off, he's off. He's laying bricks out there. But when he's on, he's going to knock down a big 3 from deep on the floor. And that's what you got. It was a not typical or vintage, not vintage Knicks performance this particular year, but good enough to win a game in where they didn't play their best. You saw that happen in Philadelphia, or in the Philadelphia series. You saw it again tonight, where teams are playing better than they are the majority of the game, but yet don't come up with the W. And that's going to be tough. Indiana, if in fact they do lose the series, are going to look back to this game as a missed opportunity, just like Philadelphia did with both games 1 and then games 2. You can't recover from that, especially, like, at least Philly had the talent and the playoff experience. I know they haven't been past the semis since Allen Iverson, but at least they've been a playoff contending team. This is a young Pacers team with some talent, but they're just not good enough. They will they will regret missing an opportunity here to try to steal one on the road. And even if the Pacers would have won that game, I still would have felt like, I would have been annoyed, obviously, but I still would have felt like the Knicks are going to win this series. Hoff, you want to add something here?
Yeah, I just you mentioned it with the pick at the end of the game where DiVincenzo got called, got the offensive foul or the pick or whatever it is, and they said it on the play-by-play. They never call, like, especially at the end of the game.
They reviewed it though.
They got lucky a few times. And I gotta be honest, Brunson was looking very sloppy. They were, misplaying, trying to,
not down the stretch though. You're right with the turnovers. That's what I'm saying. Like, I watched this game just like it did game 1, right? We watched this game and BT's like, oh, you watching the same game? Yeah, I am. I'm confused as to what you're seeing. Like, there's no more, like, the Knicks played like shit the majority of this game. And you're right. They were very sloppy, but Brunson played like the superstar that he is in the fourth quarter. And sometimes all it takes is a quarter. Now, the reason why I definitively say they will have no chance against the Boston Celtics is because the Celtics, assuming that they get past the Cavs, are significantly better than the Knicks. They're significantly better than the Sixers or the Pacers. And if the Knicks play like they did tonight or in game 1 or game 2 against Philadelphia, they will get beat. There will not be the Knicks were fortunate to win that game. When you go up against better competition, then you will get beat. That's a different story, but it is discouraging watching a team that we thought was going to come out and steamroll Indiana. I know some people said, it's going to be a tough series. Be careful. I understand that. It still could be a tough series. But the fact that the Knicks played like garbage, the Pacers had this game there for the taking. The Knicks, to your point, Hoff, were very sloppy, Brunson included, turning the ball over. The Knicks just didn't play a clean, crisp game. They're not good enough. Also, when you look at them, where is the consistent secondary scoring coming from? Anunoby's been good. He's gotten better. He's had more of a opened up offense than just sitting in the corner knocking the 3 down, so he's been okay with that. He's evolved here nicely, but you can't tell me that they don't miss Julius Randle, their second best player. He would at least give them a legitimate option. So in isolation for game one, Knicks did not play well at all until the fourth quarter. Brunson took over. That's the recipe. They definitively cannot win without Jalen Brunson scoring 35 to 40 points. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it would take somebody else absolutely going nuts. Hopefully, they won't have to go, try to win without that, because Brunson should be able to score, between at least 30, 35. I know he's doing, on a ridiculous pace where, 4 straight games with 40 points, you're talking about a level of the all-time greats. So that's not really sustainable long-term to have team success. That's why the Knicks are playing with fire here. At some point, Brunson's going to be cooled off to a certain extent and maybe score 30, and the Knicks won't be able to overcome that unless they get a better performance from, let's say, Miles McBride. And, those are things that you can't rely on, whether it's DiVincenzo, McBride, or Josh Hart. Those guys, it's been intermittent. Which one is going to have a good night? It's been the formula so far. It has worked for them. There is going to be an expiration date on that formula. For tonight, you want to enjoy the win and I think it's more relief for Knicks fans tonight. More frustration. Of course, you're excited, but more relief than anything else, because that game, they just should have been they played awful basketball. The Pacers were in control at least the majority of the game. The Knicks, I don't want to say how they got lucky, because I did think they got lucky against the Sixers. Tonight, I just don't think the Pacers are good enough, but the Knicks did not play well, and yet again, they come away with a win.
Well, but don't you want to see a game where they just start to finish just completely steamroll a team?
Yes, but I feel like they did that. Maybe not steamroll, but game 4 in Philadelphia, game 6, they came out of the gate and played as good a basketball quarter as I've ever seen, period, in my life. Now, obviously, they gave up that lead, and you give the Sixers credit for fighting back. But the ability for the Knicks to withstand that punch and then come back and punch back and end up getting that win, I've seen enough to believe in this team to a certain extent. This was a frustrating one. If they, put it this way, if they play like this in game 2, I'd be surprised and very disappointed. And they will not win on the road playing like this. At home, they could get away with it. On the road, they're going to have to play much, much better basketball. But the good news is they have home court. So even if they didn't win a road game, they're still going to win this series. Now, I do still think it's going to be a 5-game series. I'm actually even more confident now after watching that crappy game 1, because I don't think the Knicks are going to lay an egg like this again. And if you lay an egg like that and you come away with a win, now you're ahead of the game, just like last series in games 1 and games 2. Overall, look, you take the win. Great individual performance from Brunson in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart, you got to give him credit all game long. Anunoby, terrific. DiVincenzo, some big shots. But the Knicks need to be better. They know it. We'll see what type of adjustments they make going into the game 2. But I fully expect the Knicks to win this series in 5. And then I fully expect the Knicks to get their comeuppance against Boston. Hope I'm wrong, but that's what I'm expecting. I've just seen too much of this team. And especially without Julius Randle. I feel like if Randle were here, it'd be a different story. All right, that does it for us. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of WFAN Daily. Don't forget to download, rate, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit us up, WFANdaily@gmail.com. We'll answer your questions and comments on an upcoming mailbag episode. Enjoy your night. I'm going to get some sleep now.